Okay, welcome back to turn 4 of Blood on the Snow. I've been thinking about these BTRs down here actually. It's one of those. Um, did they have to die? kind of questions. You know, could I have handled this in a better way and not lost a squad, HQ squad of the recon platoon and 2 BTRs? And you know, we could maybe have slotted them in here and covered this bit off. But the aim, what we were trying to do, is get round here onto this flank before the enemy is into position. Obviously, that runs an element of risk, because if the enemy is getting into position at speed as well, then it's a contest, and the side that gets there first is going to win. So it was a roll of the dice, and I think I would probably have done the same thing. There's maybe some arguments you can make that, you know, I should have left one BTR on Overwatch and moved forward like that, but that kind of thing slows you down quite a lot. So yeah, speed was the thing there. It didn't pay off. That's just how that cookie has crumbled. So what were we looking for on this turn? Well, we're kind of deploying into position in here. We're going to be saturating that wood line there with pixel truppen. The BRDM might hopefully shoot at something. I think Kieme was just scouting up here. This looks like a Humvee sound contact, and then we saw that little scouting infantry team here, so it's even potentially just a Humvee that's driven up, and the crew have gotten out to go have a look. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see, because Recce is the name of the game right now. We're both trying to find out as much as we can about what each of us is doing. Hopefully we're going to get some spot and get some hits in. Let's just turn the objectives off. Spot and get some hits in on the enemy. If we're lucky, he might make a push and I might be able to react. But let's hope the situation clears up somewhat. Let's press that go button and then watch it all unfold. That's probably a striker contact out there. That's a mortar. Yeah, that's Mark 19 fire coming this way. Any of those hit the BRDM, it'll probably penetrate. And, oh, yep, bit of collateral damage there. And the BRDM's out of it. Got a proper spot over there. That's got to be... Who can see that? These guys over here. Huh. That is... you know that armoured knight that I said I wasn't expecting to ever see? That's one of them. So maybe it might be worth punching this flank. Yeah, so we took a couple of casualties down here to a mortar. But luckily, this is the age of infantry body armour. So they've just got a couple of wounded guys, despite the fact that a mortar landed right next to them. That's excellent. Might have to move these guys though, because we need to consider, why is a mortar falling there? Well, it could well be that Kieme's watching via drone. 2-minute calling time for mortars with the Americans, because they have those super fast links. BTR's okay. So it is entirely plausible for him to be able to start mortaring my troops right now. Which means I should spread out more than I have been doing. What else have we got going on? I think the big thing is going to be up here on this flank. The BRDM. See, he's getting shot up by some infantry there. That we can't quite see. They're quite there. Or actually, that looked like a pretty chunky explosion behind it there. I'm pretty sure it's just Mark 19 stuff, but and, hey, we're shooting back. That's awesome. We're not hitting anything, I don't think, but we're shooting back. Yeah, that was a bit long, wasn't it? And then we got this contact, which we picked up here. Yeah, oh, yeah, that's one of the guys with the 25mm semi-auto grenade launcher thing. You'll notice that they are shooting it up with small arms. That's a fairly legit thing for the AI to do. It does make sense. It's not like the best vehicle in the world, the BRDM. As if we haven't quite noticed that yet. See that other spot, is that just the same? That's that Javelin team heading down that way. Okay. I'm probably moving around too much. Let's just watch the BRDM and see what happens. Then we'll go back. Oh, that was a near miss. Now we're starting to get Mark 19 fire. Boom. There we go. That's just upset them a little bit. No actual real damage. That's the driver just got wounded. Now they're panicking and bailing out. Well, at least they're going to carry on shooting at that a little bit. So, one of the questions here is, because remember in the last turn, something I was going to do was bring that BTR forward and set it up next to the BRDM to cover down here. Do we think that that would have been a good move now that we're actually getting some targets in? I don't think so, because I think a lot of the grenades flying in that are aimed for that BRDM would have ended up hitting the BTR. Plus there's these sound contacts off on this side here. Which, look at them, they're just nestled on that reverse slope there. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, I think it would have taken out the BRDM as well. And that's another burst of MG fire that went nowhere near. And where are we? That striker should pop up. Boom. Oh yeah, look at that. That is keyholed right in there. That's a recce striker. Is it? No. No. I thought it might be because the gunner is out, but it's not. What he's doing is he's reloading it. So it's fired off a whole belt of Mark 19 there. You can see on the line there, the angle, that RPG team got hit by one. But yeah, if we think about that, I hadn't spotted this when we did the map analysis, but this little chunk of village here, this is actually quite good, because you can just keyhole in here and you can cover down that road. You know, like just whack a javelin team in one of these buildings, and you can totally cover that completely. Whew. So, yeah. Okay, so let's have a think. What have we learned here? Because this intel side of things is going to be pretty damn critical. So we've seen one striker here and an infantry squad, and we've seen one striker here, and we've seen a javelin team. The javelin team is probably just split off from an infantry squad, so we can, you know, let's build it up and say a platoon here. That would be 4 strikers. So a platoon down at here at this objective. Up here, we're looking at a couple of Humvees, and then maybe let's call it another platoon. Just like, it's a reasonable guess because we got 3 sound contacts, or 2 sound contacts potentially. That one might be just there because it's moved. Sound contacts for strikers. So we look platoon here, covering the flanks off with a tow Humvee, and he's got the armoured knight there, which is probably using a drone, a Raven, to spot stuff here, unless he's calling it in from a unit up here. But you know, we can start templating what JTMO's brought along to the fight. That's going to be really critical. These guys, it's not the RPG gunner that's upset, that's good. And over here, that BTR has gotten into position, covering that off. Let's just give it another quick run through, just in case I have missed anything. The BRDM was always expendable, always. Okay, so these guys in the center, interestingly, have no problem at all. These guys have gotten all the way up here, and they're setting up in the buildings, and that's excellent. Because I would, if JTMO was pushing up to the front of the village, expect to get some fire from there. If he's not pushing up to the front of the village, these guys don't necessarily need to be here. So I can bring them back. You know, we've shown JTMO that they're there, presumably, so we can punch them back before they get mortared. Maybe leave a couple of the RPG teams just to cover that off, and then we can, you know, bring them back here and stick them in the reserve, stick them in my pocket until I need them. And let's just see what happens with these guys, because at the start, because I didn't check it, these guys were actually a little suppressed in the last game. But maybe actually they're okay. Yeah, see, they're a little bit suppressed. But that could just be because their buddies have driven off round here on the last turn, and there's been 2 big explosions from over there. You know, so obviously they've all got radios, or the squad has a radio. You know, so maybe it is just the simple fact that they're a bit nervous because all their buddies just got incinerated. I think they're okay. These guys have gotten over it. Veteran? Did I make the recce team veteran? Huh, that squad's veteran. I must have missed that. Whatever. Thought I had everything on regular. I could have squeezed another RPG team in for the price of that. Right, let's see what we need to do. Because if these guys aren't actually having any problems, let's creep forward and actually do some recce with them. Because if I can get into a position where JTimo has to come to me, that's it, we should be laughing. And let's move these guys up here. Who knows, they might see something. Try and keep on the ditch there. That way, if these guys get shot at, you know, because they might be exposing themselves over the top of the causeway, over the top of this road. Hopefully, they'll go to ground on the reverse slope and be safe. He says, in a game where air-bursting high explosive shells are all over the place. So let's get you two back in there, move you up there. See, I'm kind of mixed about these guys now. I kind of still want to move them forward. Let's do it. Let's move the... what I'm going to do is we're going to hang on there. Because fundamentally that's going to take up JTimo's attention, and I'm not as bothered about this area as I am about this area. So if he wants to expend more ammunition over here, that's cool. We'll move the BRDMs, move the BTRs up, so that A, they're in the forest and they're a little bit less likely to catch any incoming grenades and things, and rockets, because the tree's intersect them, and also just so that they're closer to the infantry. So if I need the infantry to run back, get in the BTRs because they're getting artied, I can do that. And we got a couple of... Is everybody... Cool, I have some of the mortars set up. Four mortars set up, excellent. I'll just take two of them and just start dropping mortars. So the idea here is to, you know, even with a TRP, I know we're not on TRP there. Yeah, 2 minutes. I can just start dropping annoyance mortars in this kind of area. Just, you know, harassing maximum. And I want it on personnel. The chances of me actually hitting a striker are minimal. And punching up like dust and smoke from the ground impacts is actually not going to help me. Sometimes it's useful, but in this circumstances, fighting against the Americans who have thermals, and me, while I don't have thermals, that's a terrible, terrible idea. And I don't want to be doing that at all. Let's get you in there. So I'm just trying to like establish a bit of a line here. On this reverse slope, because I want to take advantage of of that. Let's see, can we see anything from the barn down there? Yeah, a little bit. Let's punch these guys up and see if we can get them into one of the buildings up here. How are we doing over here? We've got our two BTRs. Let's just check that intersection and see what it looks like from the enemy's perspective. They could do with going back a little bit because it's a little, you know, they're a little bit too hull down, but then at the same time I don't want them too exposed to anything from up the hill, so swings and roundabouts. Actually, I'm not sure that's going to make any difference. This one can get away with it. But the other BTR on in there, nah. Let's get you guys in there. Just wait a second and then push you guys into that house. Right. Where was that house where those Americans were? That hedge, it was that one, wasn't it? Am I in a position to get fire on that? I am! Excellent! Let's do that. A bit of retribution. Let's see where can we slot that BTR in. Not sure. Nope, no, not that side of that. That side of that, thank you. Now, Combat Mission remains one of those games where you kind of have to get the... Sometimes it does feel like a bit of a struggle against the computer, against the actual, the system. Let's get the platoon HQ out of there, and then... punch that BTR. I've only got one BRDM, but I want to say it more often than I say BTR. That's going to get really annoying. Took you in there. These guys. Okay, I'd rather that they weren't clumped up. They can't see that way, apparently. Could be worse. You need to stay there. And let's get the old... This is the BTR with the AT-13 sensor. I could maybe set them up to cover that bit there. Out of interest, who can actually see that? These guys in this house. Huh. So maybe it would be worth getting an AT-13 team up there, you know. But we'll see. Potentially punch that one up there. We can start looking over this way a little bit. that would cover off that one. Punch him up right there to that. There's like a little berm there. And oh yeah, you cover the front of the village. Yeah, I can cover off this gap there and probably hit those buildings up. You need to be in a better spot. Can we get you up here so we can enfilade the front? Not sure I can get through that hedging there. Because I'm pretty sure you can see absolute jack from where you are. Let's punch you down this way. Tuck you in there. Yes, that looks good. The chances of them actually seeing anything is still usually quite small because there's two guys in there. The driver is driving, he is concentrating on that, so he's not much good. And the gunner, I think one of the big things to come out of that I'm kind of getting from Black Sea is that ergonomics and ease of use matter. So if we get like these guys in the BRDM, okay, the guy in the turret, to move that turret around and aim the gun, he has two hand cranks, and he has to, you know, that's quite... Using those to get on target, you know, he's looking through this tiny little sight, he's got to crank him round to find the target, see the target, aim, and fire. If we compare that to someone in a striker, he's got a little joystick and a computer screen. He's literally playing like I'm playing this. Well, I've got a mouse, obviously. So there's so much less, you know, he has a wider field of view, he can zoom in, he can zoom out, he's got thermal optics. It's so much easier for him to observe, get on target, and then engage than it is for my pixel trooper. And that, in a game where everything, well, you know, broadly speaking in Black Sea, everything can kill everything else. That's not correct, but there's a general concept to bear in mind. That's how it works. In such a highly lethal environment, having ease of use becomes super important, because who sees the enemy first, who engages first, and who gets rounds on target first is the victor. He's the one who wins the engagement. And with some of this Russian stuff, especially the older Soviet stuff, it's designed around ease of manufacture. In ease of manufacture, the concept is you have lots of it. War is hell anyway, so it's not about making the soldiers comfortable. Whereas for the American stuff, it's all super computerized. It's not going to be comfortable because it's the army, and the army is incapable of comfort. But it's, by comparison, a lot more comfortable. And it's just easier to use, and that results in faster target acquisition, faster engagement, faster results. That could be you know, something we're going to see quite a lot of here. But yeah, I'm sticky bits for the next turn. We'll see what happens here, because obviously JTimo may sense a gap. he may think, you know, he's got his strikers up here now, in theory, and he might just decide, okay, we're going to punch this, and we're going to see, or he's going to probe it, or you know, something. So it's going to be. It has messiness potential, should we say. You're the bee. Let's punch these guys up. Just so I have more stuff covering covering that top of that ridge there. We've got to make sure that if we do that, we're going to bail the infantry out, because they do not want to be inside. Absolutely do not want to be inside there. If it gets hit by anything. AT-13, yes, we can fire that from inside, can't we? Yeah, of course we can. Why not? Let's... Oh, no, I'm putting an MG team up here, but no, I don't think we can see anything from up there. Let's get you up there. I know these guys are running quite a long way, but I don't care. Set up there. Sometimes it's actually quite hard to judge with the AT-13s, because they're deployed lying down. You fire it from the prone position. And that's not ideal. Screw it, let's just hide you in that cabbage patch. Or whatever that is. And we'll cover off down that flank. That's a terrible position. But we'll see. Cool, let's press go. And who could see that again? Those guys. Yeah. Let's press go. And see what we get.